Denox Advice. Episode 36. A message to the high schoolers. Hello everyone, this is Denox Advice speaking once again. I hope all of you guys are doing very good, and today's video I want to focus on the high schoolers. Yes, so you guys that are currently in high school, whether you be 15, 16, 17, 18, maybe even 19 as well. Some of you probably have an idea what you guys want to study in college or what your careers are going to be like. Whether you want to really be a doctor or a tech geek or ballerina or a musician. Yeah, anything like that. Like, if you're not sure exactly what you want in life as your career in the future, don't let anybody rush you to do so. Because like the standard expectations for someone that graduates in high school, and yes, if you're a high schooler right now, this is a video for you. Make sure you know what you want, but if you don't know what you want even at your last year of high school, then just take your time. If you're not sure, do not go to college. Because I want to give you a little bit of an idea of what to expect when you do take this career path. So a lot of people out there, they kind of know what they want, and then they end up taking the classes, going to college so they could take classes so they could actually learn, gain knowledge from it. And then after a while, they tend to realize that this is not something that they really want. And what they do in order to get around this? Well, they're gonna have to change majors. So let's just say that you're like 2 years in college, and then you realize this is not what I really want. I don't want to be a doctor. I much rather be an artist. So you're gonna have to switch majors. And then, like in Puerto Rico at least, when you go to college, they will most likely, if you have a good GPA, give you a Grand Pell, which they gave me. Like, they fund my entire college bachelor degree every single year, and there's always money left over. But I want to say this to you guys because I want to make sure that I could get as much high schoolers as possible to not go into debt. And in case you don't know what it means, you probably were not taught how to manage your money during your elementary school or middle school or high school. Yeah, mostly they should have taught you this like since at least like middle school or something like that, like how to manage your money and stuff like that. But most schools these days, they don't teach it. So if you're not able to afford a scholarship or a Pell and you're not sure what you want to study, do not go to college. Because what you're gonna do is, a lot of people will encourage you, oh, you could take a loan, you could take 2 years of general classes so you can find out what you really want and stuff. Don't do it. Well, I'm not saying that you shouldn't do it, but I advise, in my opinion, you shouldn't do it. Because first of all, you're gonna be wasting 2 years figuring out what you want in 2 years in college, and you spend all that money, especially if you take student loans, just general classes that you're probably not going to use in the future. Like a lot of these general classes, like science, unless you want to be a scientist, or history classes or whatever, or literature classes, unless something specific that you really want, you're not going to be using that when you're getting out of college. So let's just say you're in college, and because this is something that they tell you, they ingrain in your brain, oh, if you don't go to college, you're never going to be successful. You're going to end up working McDonald's or be a bum and stuff like that. If people tells you that in your life, I suggest you do your research on what you really want. If you have access to the internet, which most likely you do today. Because when I was in high school, I did not have access to the internet myself. But you guys most likely do have access to the internet. So I encourage you, if you're not sure what you want, but you have an idea, like anything, research something that you're passionate about, and then see if there's opportunities going to that field. Because you're going to end up in student loan debt if you take something that you're not sure about. If you enter without a scholarship, or a Pell Grant or anything like that. And then when you're out of college, some people like me, like I knew I wanted computers, but I didn't know that programming was like the big focus. And I'm like, darn, I realized programming is not for me. I want to get myself more involved with video editing and stuff like that. And I was gonna go to Atlantic College in Bayamon, but then I kind of canceled because traveling issues and the debt and all that stuff, because the Pell Grant wasn't going to cover me. I decided to finish off my computer science bachelor, and thankfully I didn't have any debt, but I felt like I wasted a lot of time on something that I really in the end realized that I wasn't completely passionate about it. And it's very important to use your time wisely at the age you're in right now, whether you be 16, 17, 18 or whatever. Be sure you know what you want, first of all, because if you don't, you're gonna be in a lot of student loan debts when you finish those 4 years. And then some of you are probably gonna have maybe $50,000, $100,000, $500,000 perhaps even of student loan debt. And then all the debts that you got from the education that you got from it, even if it's the best education in the world, even if you got what you wanted in college, does not mean that you are guaranteed to get a job. And even if you do get a job, guess what? A lot of the jobs, unless it's very specialized, you can get paid $200,000 and $300,000 a year. But let's just say, for instance, if you end up with $200,000 to $500,000 in student loan debt by the time you finish college, and then you find a job, you couldn't find a job that pays you really high, so you settle in for a job that's like, retails or call centers, help desks and stuff like that, stuff that you probably didn't study in college, but you have to, because now you're expected to pay bills or move on to your own and stuff, and you really want to make your own money and stuff like that. You only make maybe $20,000 to $50,000 a year, but you have $200,000 to $500,000 in student loan debt. What does that mean? Your student loan debt exceeds the living crap out of your income. And guess what else you probably will be encouraged when you go to college? Be careful with credit cards, by the way. Do not spend more money. If you're going to use a credit card, that is, do not spend a lot more money than what you can afford. So, for example, if you are able to find a job like $20,000 to $30,000 a year, or if you're in college and you're able to find a part-time job while you're studying, I guess, and maybe you earn I don't know, like $8,000 to $10,000 a year in total. Make sure you don't exceed your expenses that much, even if they encourage you, oh, just pay the minimum, just pay what you can. And then in reality, and be sure to watch the APR. You gotta be careful about the interest rate. The APR is the interest rate. If it's like 50%, 10% or whatever, and you use the credit card, you want to build a good credit, but that good credit is going to encourage you to take on more loans. So, and I really encourage anybody not to take on any loans if they possibly can. But I know that everyone's living situation is different, so you do what you do. But I'm going to conclude this and say, if you're still in high school, because this video is for the high schoolers, people are going to pressure you to go to college. You kind of feel that way. People expect you to go to college and to choose what you want to study. But if you're not sure what you're going to study, then take your time to think about it. Do your research on what to expect and see if this is something that aligns to what your goals are. Because if after a while you study in that place and you realize you don't want it, and then you change. So, a matter of fact, if you don't know what you want, you're better off getting a part-time job. Because the dilemma is that a lot of people, more than 50%, probably graduates from college and they're not able to find a job that they study for. And instead they're setting up with a job that you could have got straight out of high school. So straight out of high school, even though you don't have enough experience, but you could start off with minimum wage job so you can get more experience. And then once you know what you want, then that's when you start taking action. But if your parents are nice enough to give you the time, you don't have to work a job right away, then the next best thing to do is grab some books, research online, search for YouTube videos, and study what you really want to study if you have decided, or if you want to have an idea. And if you're gonna go to college and stuff like that, like, go to a place where they'll give you what you need, like maybe a small community college or something that only requires you a year or two in order to graduate, and that they don't really require you to take like English, math, history, whatever. Because to be honest, all these classes that they require you to take it's mostly a waste of time, unless it's, I guess, you know, if you want to learn more English, you want to learn more advanced math. But if they teach you, like for example, they taught me calculus and stuff like that, and it was a requirement, but going forward I never needed calculus, so it was a waste of time. Yeah, because they're there for your money. Yep, they're there for your money, and they're gonna make you take pointless classes when you're in college. Of course, you know, the good thing about college, if you do decide to take it, you do have a better chance of having a more social life, because you're gonna be connected with people your age and maybe with the same interests as you, because you're studying probably in the same field and stuff like that. So that's all I have to say about this, guys. So don't be pressured, avoid debt, because it's not worth it going to college and getting out with $100,000 plus in debt, and then it will take you so many years to pay it off, and then you get a mortgage, you get a credit card, and then guess what happens? You are literally stuck. Do not be stuck, because at where you are right now, you probably don't have no debt because your parent pays for everything. You're still living with your parents right now. You're living comfortably. So here's the chance for you to try to figure out what is it that you want, because you have the time to do it, and you could afford to even fail if you try a lot of things. Because once you have a lot of debt and you have family and all that stuff, you're not gonna have time to develop yourself, and you're gonna be a debt slave. And that's something, for me, from my experience, I know I thankfully got out of college without debt, but I know a lot of my friends that ended up with a lot of debt because they were not taught how to manage their money, and they were lied to for the most part, saying, oh, if you go to college, it's a very good investment no matter how much money you have to take out in loans or how much you have to pay for it. Education these days, if you go online and stuff like that, you could actually learn almost the same thing for the most part, unless you're like a doctor or maybe a teacher and stuff that requires you, or a lawyer that requires you to go to college. But if you're not any of those stuff, then the internet is full of information for you to learn for free or for a very low cost, or even picking up books and then applying it for yourself, unless it doesn't require you to go to school and stuff like that. And if it does, you know, try to find one that's cheaper. Yeah, but you don't have to go to college to be successful. You can just go straight to work or start learning like a lot of different skills from books and YouTube videos and stuff. And then when you're ready, you have no debt on you, or barely any whatsoever if you need to. But never take on debts unless you know you can afford it, unless you know you can pay it back. But there's nothing guaranteed in this life. So yeah, that's what I want to say to you guys. I hope I didn't repeat myself. I hope that this will be useful for you. And if you're a parent watching this video, I encourage you to show this to your kids, especially if they're in middle school or high school. And then for what you know, explain to them exactly what to look out for, and encourage them to follow their own dream. Don't pressure them to go to college if they're not sure what they want. If they want to go to college and they know what they want to study, that's great. And if they want to take out a little bit of debt and they could pay it off, that's fine too. But if you take out too much debt from students and credit cards and mortgage, and way above what you could afford, then you're most likely going to be a debt slave. And yeah, it's going to be really sad and really hard to get out of. Anyway, that's all I have to say about this video. Be sure to subscribe to this channel if you enjoy and you find value of this video, and also click the bell and the notification right next to the subscribe button, so that you can be up to date whenever I upload new videos, and you'll be notified in your device. So until next video, guys, take care, God bless, and stay cool. Bye bye. Thank you for watching this video to the end. If you want more advice, world, or life experience discussion from me, subscribe today and click on the bell next to it so you can receive notification whenever new videos becomes available. See you then.